Not all myofunctional therapy courses are created equal, and if you desire saving yourself thousands of dollars and months of frustration or years of regret, today I'm about to give it to you straight because that's the only thing I know how to do, okay? And some people may not like it, but I promise you, if you stick around today, you will hear all of the tea for all of the courses that are out there. So let's end the confusion and let's dive right in. Give me a hi, hello in the comments. I'm Carice Laguerre. I'm your Mayo best friend. Feel free to join us every week, roughly, where we will dive into all kinds of topics that really do shake up the industry, push you to strive towards excellence, and really beat down the barriers and the walls of, blockades. There's no reason why there should be barriers of access to any sort of information. Everything you've ever wanted to know, we dive in. Over 70 hours of content, and we can only keep this going if you allow us to. So if you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on LinkedIn, subscribe, follow, put on the notifications. Make sure you don't miss a beat, okay? We're going to jump right in. First, y'all, I know some of you message me and you say, "Oh my gosh, you are so like spicy," or "Oh my gosh, you've got so much spunk and like you got so much attitude when you're whatever." But like seriously, guys, it's so frustrating. It is 2026. And so while my goal is not to be sassy, it's really to be raw and real. My raw and real emotion every time I see somebody post on social media, "What myofunctional therapy course should I take?" Followed by a bunch of people posting courses when you don't know nothing about the person who's asking and you have no idea which course might actually be the right one for them, because whatever course you took doesn't mean that it's right for everyone. And as a instructor, I can tell you that not everyone is built for my course. So I don't understand why we still go around in this vicious cycle of like, we want to tear each other down by recommending courses. I know that's not what you're thinking you're doing, but that's exactly what is happening and what is being done. We can do better. It's 2026, y'all. It's not 2015. This information isn't hard to find. They can give you more information about themselves so that you can give them an educated answer and response, or they can really put the work in if they really are looking to invest. Because I don't know about the rest of y'all, but in this economy, like who has thousands of dollars in disposable income that they don't care if they wasted and spent on the wrong course? If you got it, listen, I will send you my banking information and feel free to send some of it my way. But no, seriously, like, let's stop doing that. And that I just had to get out of the way. Okay. So let's also get some other stuff out of the way, that there is some commonalities between a lot of the courses. And you'll find as we go through, there's significant commonalities between all of them. And I used the exact same slides. I just updated the content since the last time we talked about this. And let me tell you that 90% of the courses cost more, and I can't find a discernible difference in some of these courses and what they're offering. And so that I found very interesting. But many of these courses all offer the same baseline information, right? Every single course that's in here. So if I don't list it, don't think it's not in there. I'm only going to distinguish in every slide what exactly makes that course special, unique. What is something that it has that it can have as a marketable trait? Because every course has exercises. Every course has history and background. Every course talks about tethered oral tissues. Most talk about sleep and obstructive sleep apnea. Not all promote that as its own separate, entity of stuff. And literally zero talk about dental sleep medicine, which is a whole different subsect and working with oral appliances. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get there. Anatomy is almost in all of them. If they're like, "Oh, we'll show you the why behind the exercises," it's anatomy. Like they're trying to teach you anatomy. But then there's going to be support. So everybody has a support group, whether it's a live support group, it's a Facebook group, it's a WhatsApp number, it's a community in Kajabi or a community in whatever they're hosting their course. Everybody has a community. So none of these things makes anybody special. They're all the exact same. So as we go through some courses, I don't want you to feel like, oh, she didn't mention anything about such and such. It's put aside. Okay, guys? All right. Let's start first with one of the most common ones, the AOMT, the Academy of Orofacial Myofunctional Therapy. Now, their cost has bumped up. It is $3,199 to do this course. It is a hybrid course, so you've got 9 weeks of live instruction and you've got some self-study content. There's 69 hours of CEs. So the same totality, slightly less actually, that I have here in my library of things here on YouTube that you can access for absolutely free. Not the same content, all of it, of course, clearly, but the same amount of hours that you could spend diving into their stuff, 69 hours, and we've got over 70 hours here on the YouTube and or LinkedIn if you're watching me there. They issue dental CEs through the Californian Dental Board. I wasn't sure what that means, so that's what CDB means there. Like, that's not AGD PACE credits, it's not AADH credits. I don't know what these credits are. Like, I have no idea what the California Dental Board issues and if that is, for all states. Like, so if you're going into it as a dental hygienist or a dentist, please do some research before you go thinking that you're about to have your whole, like, all your hours of CE that are mandated by your state dental practice act done by just doing a Myo course. It might not be, okay? You might still need to work on your CEs. So there's 69 hours of content. They do have some talk about research. If you are new to this channel, then you don't know that anybody who mentions research and myofunctional therapy in the same sentence without addressing the fact that it's all nonsense, you've got a great lecture to watch. And don't worry, I will link it at the end of this. But the whole research thing, whatever, they talk about research, the latest and greatest research and international standards and so forth, but it means literally nothing and presents no validity to myofunctional therapy, which is a legitimate pseudoscience. Leaving that there. Practice management, comorbidities. I love the thought of comorbidities. I think that that's incredibly important. There's 5 different instructors, unlimited weekly support on their coffee clutch, and you need 15 of those in attendance or watching the recordings of previous ones to qualify for their certification. But their certification is rolled into that price, that $3,199 price range. AOMT, I find to be recommended a whole lot. You know what else I find with the AOMT? A lot of people who will message or be confused about custom treatment planning, because what you will get from AOMT, and it's to their credit if that's something that you need, it is to their detriment if you want better, is that they do cookie cutter, like, this is session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4. And if you have anybody that deviates from normal or that won't fit the mold of whatever generalized system, you're going to struggle. And so if that's something that you need, if that's something that you want, this one or the next one might be good for you. And also a couple more that are coming up might be good for you if you're in, like, public health. I think that's really important there. I will say, though, I'm going to reserve that opinion. Reach out to me if you want to know what I was going to say, but I'm going to reserve that opinion. Let me keep my mouth shut. Myo Mentor. Myo Mentor is taught by Sarah Hornsby. There are some elements of it where there are other instructors, is what it seems like. Like, they might have Melissa and Dave on a couple of things. Maybe they have a lecture or two or some foundations of Breathe Institute or Zagi or whatever. There is absolutely an opportunity to do it in person in addition to virtual. But it is traditionally a 12-week virtual only course where it's live lectures, live calls, interaction, and you do get some prerequisites and so forth. Now, it is $2,750, and all of these dollars are US dollars unless I designate otherwise. There are 2 Canadian courses coming up, and so those will be also translated into USD, but 2,750 US dollars. If you add in 2.5 days for working in Colorado at the Vivos Center, that will be an additional $1,795. Or you can mix the two and save a little money. I think you save a couple hundred, but it'll be $4,545. I need to asterisk this here by saying, and this is incredibly important once you see some other things coming up, but the 2 days in person, that's not your lodging. It didn't say anything about food, but that's not your lodging. That is not your flight over to Denver. That's not any of that. That is all at your own expense. You're paying for the ability to be able to go there to get the 17 hours of additional CE and whatever on site in person experience you can gain from a group setting. The value in Myo Mentor is they have a lot of things about insurance and super bills, or they had. I didn't see it in the new one. I didn't take it off since my last thing, but in their new page, it really doesn't reference it at all, like billing. But that used to be a huge value add. I took this course long ago, and that was probably the only thing I literally took from that, because there was not much else that I really grew from that one. But insurance and super bills, that was like a big thing. But they do have their own separate protocols and regimens, protocols and regimens for TMJ, obstructive sleep apnea, TOTS, like just general Myo and so forth. So if you're looking for something you can easily disseminate and distribute, this might be the perfect one for you. There is also some talk of mini Myo. There is not a lot of people who go into mini Myo because of the controversy as far as like, should dental professionals be doing myofunctional therapy with anybody under the age of 5? So I always think that that's a very special thing too. Okay. Neo Health Services, they have the QOM designation. With the QOM designation, that is a registered trademark, certified, you'll be a qualified, orofacial myologist. In a previous lecture, we talked about orofacial myologists. We talked about the public awareness of such a title and what it is and who's searching for it. And I would highly encourage you to look at the 2026 trends. I think more work needs to be done in that area in order to really like benefit from using that. But certification is also a whole nother topic that I'm not going to dive into in this one. We talked about that at length in other lectures. But they have the intro to myofunctional therapy course. I think it's pretty much just called that. It's taught by Sandra Holtzman, who is an SLP, and Becky Ellsworth, who is a registered dental hygienist. They also have other people on their team who are fresh perspectives, who are able to really like contribute as well. And so it's super well-rounded. If you're looking for something that's got more of a pathway, so it's got a structure to how you would do myofunctional therapy, but it's not exactly cookie cutter in that it gives you what you're supposed to do. It gives you an outline for it. And I think that is valuable because at least then you're still becoming a therapist. You can't call yourself a myofunctional therapist if you're just distributing sheets of pre-made, ready-made information. You're a distribution network, you're a distributor, you're a logistics manager, but you're certainly not a myofunctional therapist if you cannot custom treatment plan, pivot, troubleshoot, and so forth on your own. So I think that's the distinguishment that this one makes, and it's really, really, really good at that. The Myo manual was always a great thing for the longest time. A lot of people love to have that manual because it just really sets everything out so well. And it is like having a binder of instructions that you can keep and carry with you. That's included in the course. It's $2,500 for this course. It's all virtual, 28 hours live. So for those 3 days, you are live and actually in group virtual lectures. The values here is that honestly, in if you're not in a course that is taught by a speech language pathologist, you won't get that speech perspective, or you won't get it in a way that you'll be able to really understand the connection. Are there other ways to understand that connection? 100%. But this one is a great one because it goes a little bit deeper than I think I even anticipated when I did this course years ago. And so it gives you a good foundation into what collaboration looks like and why you would collaborate in speech therapy. It is not, myofunctional therapy is not a replacement for speech therapy in any aspect. It's not a replacement for feeding therapy either. So understanding speech, swallowing mechanics, the lip meter is a very exclusive product for them. It's got its values. It's got its values. Joe Seaford, I hope I said your last name right. Joe is awesome. He's a fantastic guy. I am a little bit I don't know. I'm hesitant to talk very much about this one because I don't know a whole lot about it. But from what I was able to find online, RDHU in Canada seems like a place where you get a lot of continuing education credits as a registered dental hygienist. A part of that is Joe's course, Myofunctional Therapy, a Practical Program. Canada has its own set of laws, structures, practices, rules, whatever, scope, all of that. I think it's incredibly important that if you are learning from someone, that they probably be highly familiar with where you are and what the rules are, where you are, and how to help you build and grow based on your own systems. Canada has their own healthcare system. They have independent RDHs in certain provinces. Like, I think the real value in Joe and then Kim and Kelly as that comes on is that they get Canada. They understand Canada. They can speak to it. Joe is highly educated. I see him everywhere that you can find somebody learning about Myo. I see him there. He's learning. And so with that, I assume he's building out a course that is really good. That's my assumption, okay, based on what I know about this man, okay? It's a hybrid program. There is a lot of pre-study and then like self-study content, but then you get to do some virtual online and 2 days in person. Now, again, there was nothing in the 2 days, and the 2 days is included, so there's no separate fee. It's 3,150 Canadian dollars. It's 2,228 US dollars. The 2 days is for the privilege of being on site those 2 days. It is not for any of your travel or expenses in any way, shape, or form. That's going to come at extra. Okay. What I love about the course is that he's got Joy involved. Joy is awesome. Joy Lance, who speaks phenomenally about the smaller ages, like the mini Myo and even less ages, and talks about TMD and the mom and infant dyad, and like she comes from the breastfeeding perspective and working with infants and babies and how Myo really can fit into that, and or how that is a way that you can, carve a new path out if you're interested in becoming a lactation consultant and working in that capacity with the dyad. And so I love that it's kind of well-rounded because it goes through the age span, through the lifespan, because you get from utero all the way into adulthood and It makes myofunctional therapy a truly practical program. Keisha Nolan is an SLP, and I love that she has Angie involved. Now, Angie Lehman is phenomenal. I am so blessed to call her a friend. I think that if there's one thing you should be doing in this field, it should be learning something from Angie Lehman. If you go to her website, AOMT of York, and you look at her courses, the About Face course will change how you look at everything. Angie is phenomenal. I have nothing bad to say about Angie ever in life. Keisha Nolan is an SLP, and they kind of co-teach, but not quite really. Angie's the dental perspective, so they've got that balance of like speech and dental and how all of that goes together. And it gives both sides of what really should be a multidisciplinary view into myofunctional therapy. It's $2,700. It's 3 days, all virtual with some self-study content. You get 33 CEs. There's a mix of that. So 20 hours of live instruction over the 3 days, and then 13 hours of self-study content. She talks about posture, which I have not seen a lot in a lot of places. She talks about posture, talks about swallowing, the multidisciplinary connection, like I mentioned before, habit elimination. And then I was really surprised to see like treatment programs, because how it was written looks like it's a cookie cutter, like these are the sheets for your treatment programs. And so I'm hoping that that's not what that is, because I hear really great things about Mastering Myo. Although for some people, if you work in public health, if you're working in a dental practice and you guys need to streamline it for your workflow, having a set bunch of instructions and, treatment programs, it makes sense in that context and only in that context. Okay. All right. Mayo Coaches, Kelly Hall and Kim Kung. These two are very awesome also. I don't know Kelly very well. I don't know Kim very well, but I do know Kim, and I like Kim. I like Kim a lot. I think she's exceptional. She is a wealth of knowledge, and she's got a breadth of experience that I think really does lend value to a lot of our Canadian dental people who might be looking for a course. 3,400 Canadian dollars or 2,440 US dollars. Okay. 8 weeks online, 30 hours of content, no CEs that I could find, like no continuing education that I could find. I don't know. It was very uncertain as to whether or not you would get CE credits. What I like is that they keep small groups. That way they can have study groups and little research cohorts and so forth. So they break them down into smaller groups. I think that's great. They talk about mindset. Not enough people talking about mindset. Myo is not for the weak. You've got to be gritty. You've got to want this. Myo will not fall in your lap. You will not get a bunch of people who are just so desperately looking for myofunctional therapy that they will wait around patiently until you open your practice and don't need to market it. Like, you have to work. If you've never wanted to be self-employed and you want to work under a dental practice, then there's a way to do that. But like just taking anybody's myofunctional therapy courses, when a lot of these talk about business setup and working independently, you've got to be gritty. You've got to want this. Okay. Virtual OMT, or like telehealth, TMD, they talk about mini Myo, which I love, ortho, habit elimination. But then they have the session templates, which again, when people bring up session templates, I'm like, okay, just know you're not learning to be a therapist if you are following templated programs. You're just getting like an experience of being the distribution center for a myofunctional therapy program. Okay. But that's just how I read it and how I interpret it. Marketing is incredibly important. So if that's not how it is, please work on the wording. Please work on the wording. AHS's School of Myo, it's $2,998, or you can save a whole $1,000 by just doing it all virtual without any interaction whatsoever from the instructor. It is, I don't know why there's $1,000 difference. And I feel like I said that before, like $1,000 difference. And I just can't discern where the extra 1,000 comes in. But 28 CEs, live and self-study virtual. You can do 20 hours and still get, instead of the 28, and still get a year of access to all that content. After that year, I guess it just disappears and you won't need it anymore. The Myo Map workbook is new. I think this is one of the only ones where the pricing didn't change. A lot of the other ones before that I spoke about, like the pricing went up. I feel like this is one of the only ones I didn't have to change the pricing information on, but it did get added content like the Myo Map workbook, which sounds like kind of like the Myo manual or a little like the Myo Excellence Toolkit that you'll learn about a little bit later, but it's got a bunch of resources. That way you're able to really have a reference point that you can go back to, okay? Business planning and management, if you want to work outside of a dental practice or outside of any other guidance or whatever. And then it's got 2 guest lecturers, Ben Moralia, Kevin Boyd, and you can shadow. The shadowing, that's what I wanted to talk about. The shadowing gives you CEs, which is awesome. But the shadowing at $1,499 if you buy it just outright, or the shadowing at is $9,999. I'm sorry, I did not mean 9,000. It's $999 if you are doing it as like an alumni or a student of a course currently. So then you can save like $500. That shadowing is just for the privilege of going to be there to shadow. Does not cover your travel. It does not cover your accommodations. It does not cover your meals or anything else. It's just for the opportunity to shadow. And it seems like it's 1 day of shadowing. I could be wrong about that, but that's what it seems like it is. Outside of the Myo Map workbook, I didn't see anything else that really distinguished it from other things. There is also the mini Myo. There is also habit elimination. There's TOTS, OSA, a lot of the things that all the other courses are talking about. So it's just another option. Myo Mastery, Carmen Woodland. Carmen Woodland and, why is her name? Hallie Bulkin. The 2 of them, I think, are geniuses when it comes to business, or gifted, I should say. Instead of geniuses, they're gifted when it comes to business. Carmen's got an MBA, and as an MBA holder, she does business really well. She teaches to business really well. She is like a great person to study. At least her content, her website, her marketing, her workflows, I think are exceptional and great to study. I would highly, highly, highly recommend, if you're one of those people who learns by watching, you watch Carmen Woodland or you watch Hallie Bulkin. The 2 of them will help you level up your business just from observing what they're doing. There's so much out there. I'm just going to put a pin right here, okay? There's so much out there in the world, and I think it's really important that you start to follow people or watch people and watch how they're moving, watch how they're growing, watch how they're building their business. And if that's somewhere that you want to be, you need to follow people who are aspirational. And I think that if you're new and you're wanting to learn how you can market or what kind of pathway you can carve to talk about Myo and so forth, follow Carmen, follow Hallie. They are really, really great at that. Myo Mastery is an online course that I don't believe provides CEs. I couldn't find it anywhere, but it's all virtual. Self-study is what it seems like. 36 hours of content for $2,800. The asterisk is there because you can add bonus things there. What I love is that those bonus upgrades just give you more, which is such a business tactic. Like, please follow more business people. I just love the way that they do business. And they aren't even like the people I primarily follow for business. Like, I really go for aspirational, like $100 million and more business owners. That's who I'm trying to follow. But the way they do business, it plays off of some very, very consistent business rules that I think are just chef's kiss. Bonus, you get an implementation course. That implementation course, I have to assume, is a lot of business. And so, yay, If business is your thing, you're like, look, I can do the Myo all day, all night. I just need to know how I can best start my business, because the business aspect of it is the part I care about most. Then you want to pick either Carmen or Hallie, but probably really, really Carmen, because Carmen's course would be great for that. Okay, Myo Circle. This one went up a lot and it's changed its name. I should have changed the picture for it. I'm sorry that I didn't, Renata. I didn't mean to do that. But Myo Circle, it formerly was Myo Airway Circle Foundations. I'm sorry. And so $3,997, you get 15 weeks of virtual. The website said 8 weeks, but then in 2 other places on the website, it said 15 weeks. So I'm just going to say 15 weeks of virtual live lectures and, meetings and meetings with instructors. That's what I meant to say. 40 hours of content, no dental CE that I could see anywhere. I'm really, really, really confused about it. I don't like to visit a landing page and feel confused. Confusion, it leads people away from pages, and I want more people coming to these pages. So anybody who I have miscommunicated your information, please go back, review, and make sure it's clear as day. The one thing I did note on here is that the course says it's the only advanced myofunctional therapy course. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's not the only advanced myofunctional therapy course. It's just incorrect. And so I figure if it's going to be marketed there, I could say it here and give my pet peeve on it. My pet peeve on it is that there's a lot of advanced courses and there's a lot of things where people deep dive into other things. But if you want to say that maybe it's the one of the more advanced myofunctional therapy courses for beginners, I would 100% agree. And a lot of times when people, I talk to 1 to 2 people a week who hop on my calendar, who are like, hey, I don't know which course I want to take, but you offered your link and it doesn't cost anything to talk to me. That also irks my nerves when people make you pay to talk to them. I'm not special. They're not special. You should be able to talk to whoever you need to talk to, especially if it's about giving them money. You should be able to talk to them and it not cost you anything. But when they ask about courses, I'm like, you know what? If you want like a really comprehensive overview, or if I feel they're not right for mine, my big fallback is always sending them to Renata. I send them to Myo Circle and I'm like, this is where you're probably going to get a really great start. Or I might send them to AOMT for other reasons, or I send them to Keisha Nolan, or I send them to wherever. Like, you have to understand that all these courses have a purpose and have a power for particular people. So saying that it's the only advanced one isn't right. It is one of the more comprehensive ones. And I really do like that they go into oral surgery. I think that's incredibly important. Hypermobility. Hello. Nobody else mentions hypermobility. You can't even find that in my course. Okay. That'll probably be a future live stream though. But hypermobility, I think, is really great. They have a guidance call, which I think is really cool. And I've actually been putting together more content for Myopathway. But one of the things I'm going to do is very similar to what they've already established. And I did this research very soon, so I'm not copying anybody. But very recently, I should say. So I'm not copying anybody, but one of the modules I'm adding is like how the MyoSpot works. And the MyoSpot is my myofunctional therapy practice. And so it would be like really following all of the things that I do, like listening to my consult calls, listening to me being able to talk and work and whatever. You get some of me working, but you don't get a whole lot of it right now. But I love that the guidance call has multiple instructors and you're able to listen to them work. And I love that. So that is a huge selling point. They have an exclusive study club. Airway Circle itself is a study club, but you have an exclusive study club. They provide you with brochures for marketing, which Hello, that is awesome. You have 11 instructors or guest lecturers, 5 are from Brazil, 6 are specialists, and you can get a refund if you're not happy with the course after 2 weeks. I think I neglected to mention that for Carmen after 7 days. If you're not happy, you want a refund, ask for a refund. Refund after 2 weeks. That's awesome. I love that. Love it, love it. Hallie. I love Hallie. She lives down here, not far from where I am. She's really, really awesome. She is a business master. I mean, phenomenal. She's so good at the business aspect of it. If you're looking to learn business, please follow her moves. I think I've already said this, but it's $1,497. This is another one of the ones where the pricing has not changed. Although, surprise, it's $2,000 more if you want certification. I still don't know why though. And so that's where I feel like that's very unclear unless the certification itself is a process upon which now you need, I don't know. I don't know. It's $2,000 more for certification. I don't know what the certification process is with her, but it's more. It's all virtual, all self-study, 23 hours of content. You can get ASHA CEs. You cannot get dental CEs, okay? There's comorbidities to consider, which I really, really love. How to deal with patients' cognitive versus chronological age, which I really, really love. That's a lot of neurodivergence, and marketing, which, hello, queen, like, tip my hat to that. You get access to the Myo membership for 2 months. The Myo membership is like an exclusive community where it's almost like a study club, and you get to learn and grow there for free at no charge for 2 months. She often has a waiting list and like blocks off how many people are in the Myo membership. So it's phenomenal that you get to get a sneak peek in there for 2 months for free, and you get to be listed on her directory, which is a value in and of itself because a lot of people are searching that directory. And I think that if you don't have a SLP in your area that you're really networked with, that you can find a great one by just using her Feed the Peds directory. Anybody who's graduated Myo Method, they know a lot. Hallie's great at what she does. I know firsthand, I've sent people her way and nobody has come back with any sort of problem. Like, I'm very, very pleased with how she works, and her marketing is unmatched, totally unparalleled. Dr. Nicole Anderson teaches. I am not super familiar with Dr. Nicole Anderson, but she has the Institute of Orofacial Myofunctional Therapy. Now, this is a course that is 3 days. It's either in person, like 3 days, on site, 28 hours, or you're watching as she's live lecturing. You watch from the comfort of your home. You do not have to travel out to Denver, I think is where she is, or Colorado. Yes, Denver, Colorado, where she is. So you don't have to travel out to do that. However, it would be probably a more value if you were to attend in person. Now, the 1997, whether you're virtual or in person, it's the same from what I could see from all of the marketing or the checkouts that were there. However, it does not include your lodging, transportation, like none of that's included in that fee. So you might as well do it in person if it's the same cost as doing it virtual, because I'd rather be there if I'm going to learn than trying to learn it virtually. I can learn it cheaper somewhere else if the cost is the issue, and or I could get more out of it from somewhere else. But she does talk about Buteyko, which several other courses do talk about Buteyko. I've talked about Buteyko and my issues with Buteyko on this channel. And so if you want to know about those, hit me up. I'll send you exactly all of my thoughts, unfiltered and raw, and special needs, which nobody is talking about. And so that's the real value here with Dr. Nicole Anderson, is the special needs lecture. Everything else was pretty much standard. You know, you're going to get the foundational exercises and so forth. And because she's a dentist, you get a little bit more of that dental perspective and point of view for integrating it into a workflow in your business. Discover the Myo Therapy Puzzle with Pat Pine. Pat Pine does 4 days. It could be in person in Arizona, I want to say, Tempe, Arizona. I hope I'm not wrong about that, Pat. I'm sorry if I was. But You could also watch it virtually. Same thing as the other one. This is 3,000 US dollars, 30 hours of CE. I don't think you do 30 hours all in person. I'm pretty sure some of that is self-study content. I don't know enough about how much access you get to the live lectures or so forth, or any of that content from many of the ones that are live. But a lot of the ones that are self-study are lifetime access, and then you get, updates and so forth. She talks about functional breathing, which I don't think enough people talk about. I'm not sure what she means by functional breathing, but functional breathing has many definitions, and functional breathing, by my standards, I would highly want people to be talking about that. It's the dynamic flow of breath, in that the body changes as you are doing various tasks. If I am sitting at a computer and I am typing away, or I am sitting and reading a book, or I'm going for a walk, or I'm exercising, like different breathing patterns, and being able to transition between them is functional breathing in my perspective. And I really hope that she's referencing that kind of functional breathing. Otherwise, she might just be talking about BTEC and just calling it something else. I don't know, whatever. Practice management, which I think is really important. Functional appliances. Hello, we need to talk more about that as a whole. Case studies, very, very important as well. And so that's a really good one. Chatterton Myo program. Now, the Chatterton Myo program is a new one. Some of y'all are like, ooh, what's this? I've never even heard of this. There are 24 courses, and I think I tried to get to 20, but some I think are not either marketed well or they're international. And so I was like, this is not appropriate for me to do like a Denmark course and like to put that in a lecture. There's going to be more people watching from the States or from Canada. And so it just didn't feel right. But the Chatterton Myo program is in Boise, Idaho. And if you are within 100 miles of Boise, Idaho, you cannot take this course. It is taught by an SLP who purchased the practice of Galen Peachy. Galen Peachy, or Galen Peachy, I hope I'm saying his name right, is one of the founders of the International Association of Orofacial Myology. And so he's one of the early risers that was there with like Bill Zickafoose and so forth. And they have a particular standard and set for Myo. She teaches to that. Now, if we're going to talk about what's probably like 70 plus years old Myo programs, I don't know that this is exactly the one for you, but I'm sure there's a lot of structure to it, which might be the enhancing value, and like foundational structure that more modern, newer courses or modern, newer instructors don't utilize or utilize fully. 30 hours of content. Just don't live anywhere near Idaho and you'll be fine. You get to go there 2 days in person. That does not include your travel or accommodations, but you can be there 2 days in person. There is 12 hours of self-study content for $2,500. This next one really gets me excited. I love Sarah. Sarah's awesome. She's a great person. I don't think enough people know that. She can be a bit brash, but she is a truly, in the depths of her heart, a really great person. And she has built a myofunctional therapy program and practice in a way that is more modern than anybody else. Everybody else is still like knocking on doors and going and networking and doing all this. That's not to say that she doesn't network, but she has over 100,000 followers on her social media. I think at some point she even surpassed the Breathe Institute, which everybody, is all about in the industry, the Breathe Institute. But she's like one of our most popular Myo people. There are other ones who are really, really popular too. But when you're able to build in a modern way, you're able to now give a path You've carved out a path and you're able to give a path to students. And so she has her own approaches. She has her own ways of dealing with having a virtual only practice and being able to practice and grow a practice from the comfort of her home. If you are looking to not leave your house, to work remotely, and to be able to work from anywhere while doing something that you love, because she travels, she's got a great life balance. I would say you want to look into Reveal Myo Academy. It is $2,995. You can save $400 if you don't want her certification. Her certification is AOMP. AOMP. It's a registered trademark. It is all self-study. I don't know if there's any CEs. It wasn't really clear there, but there is live Q&A and case presentations, and I think it's a good option if you're looking to build in a more modern way. Others to know, possibly, is the Function Focus Academy, which is Mary Billings, and she in no way, shape, or form wants any hygienist in her course. So I don't know. I think my biggest audience is hygiene. So I'm sorry. But 36 hours of CE she offers $2,800. Or Jody Walker is an SLP, and she does let RDHs in. She works with all sorts of specialists. Her program is called Myo for All. It is $2,000. It is 6 months of virtual, which I love. It's slow, steady learning that is paced, and you get to work with her. And she talks about posture and breathing and neurodiversity. And hello, we don't have enough of that. So again, just to reiterate, all the courses have the foundational things. I just cherry picked the things that I thought made each of these courses very, very special. So with that said, anybody notice anything? No, I'm probably going to have to tell you because I'm sure nobody noticed anything. If you've watched the previous lecture, where nearly 2 years ago, or probably maybe almost exactly 2 years ago, I did these same courses with the exception of the last 3 slides. I did these same courses. Not much has changed. And yet, the world has changed. There are more people than ever learning marketing, doing digital stuff, working with AI, and not one bit of that is in any of these courses. Not one bit. Y'all don't find it strange? That the pricing has increased in almost every single one, and only 1 or 2 actually offered something that was new to kind of compensate. I get inflation. Trust me, I get inflation. I get knots in my stomach when I have to raise my prices for my business. And every January, my husband and I, we have this hard conversation where, yes, it has to go up to manage the expenses and so forth. So I get that. But we're talking about an education business. There's not a high level of output that you have to put in there. You're getting significantly more than you need, and you're being compensated very well for your time. You could do more. You know how I know? Because I do more. I do more. And I've been pushing for 3 years, and I'll continue to push, and I'm going to keep my foot on your necks to make sure that other people step up their game, because it's not right. For $2,200, you could do the self-study for Myopathway, or for $3,750, you can do the self-study course, yes, still, and have 2 days of live on-site mentoring or shadowing. This is including in your cost. How many times did I say things weren't included in your cost? Including in your cost. If I'm coming to you, you don't pay me a dime. You don't feed me. You don't have to do anything. We book the flight. We book accommodations. I book a car if I'm renting a car. I book any of my reservations, whatever. I do all of that. Don't ask you for a dime for it. 2 days. I'm with you the full day as long as you need me. You want me to come in at 5 a.m.? I will be there at 5 a.m. You need me to stay until 8 p.m.? I will stay there until 8 p.m. These 2 days are your days at no additional cost. Or you can shadow me at the same price. This is less than some of the courses where you'll never even get to meet your instructor. You can fly out. The girls who have flown out, oh, please, girls, if you're watching this, and I don't know that they would be, well, please put it in the chat or put it in the comments below. They paid for nothing while they were here. I pick you up at the airport. I'll send an Uber for you. How impersonal and rude would that be? I pick you up at the airport. I feed you your meals. I book you a nice hotel. I take you to go for waterfront dining, because if you're going to come down to South Florida, you better come to waterfront dining. Like, there's no reason to come down here just to watch me work. No, 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 no. Let's talk about my work day as we sit by the ocean and eat. You're not paying for any of that because you've already paid for it. It's in your course cost. Why aren't other people offering that? I could wait, but I'm not going to wait because they don't have an answer for it. They just don't want to. It is something that is capable of being done. They just choose not to, and nobody is demanding any better of them. And so why would they? We can do better collectively, and I'm the living proof of it. My students who value so much from excellence, when I talk about how sitting in, so when they say, yeah, you have 2 days on site or whatever, we're all together, you get hands-on Myo. Hands-on Myo means what? How much of that really transfers back to your work environment? How much of that really transfers back into your workflow? Who's listening to your calls to say like, oh, maybe I would have said it this way, or I really love when you did this. You should double down on that. Or your pace, it's too fast. It shouldn't be like this. Or, oh, this is a great brochure. I love the way you did this flyer. Or let me sit down with your front office team and we'll get the wording right. That way they're able to really help you pitch this. You can't get that sitting in a room with other people doing exercises. Exercises are great and they're fine and they're fun. And we can do some of that during your mentorship or shadowing, but you want to get down to the nitty gritty of how this works for you. And so I think that that's an incredible, like, priceless experience that honestly, why aren't others doing it? It's shameful. It's really, really shameful. Okay. 28 hours of CEs, AGD pace CEs. Okay. I don't play around. I don't know what all this other mumbo jumbo is, but real CEs around here or nothing else. Okay. 6 months to 12 months to whenever, honestly. I have some people who come on anytime they feel like it, and I really don't care. Come on our live Q&As. I'm live every week. So just come on our live Q&As. If you bought into the course and like you bought it 2 years ago, come on the live Q&As. Come kiki, chat with us. I feel like I get to talk to different people every week. Like, people just come on as they need things or when they want to hear and get support. And we really become a true family. It is not I'm in a cohort and I can only, experience this group of people that are in the class with me. It is, we're all growing together. Even the people who, might join a year or two from now, you'll get to experience them too. We all grow together as a family. We know each other's, lives and things. We talk about just life. Dental sleep medicine is a true standout of the course. Appliances and talking about ortho is a true standout of the course. Cranial nerves is the main standout of the course. My last live lecture was all about cranial nerves and how that is so incredibly foundational, and why if you're not doing that, you need to. Cosmetic cases, special needs, telehealth, scope of practice, which shame on so many people for sending people to talk to me. There's several instructors who have sent people to talk to me about scope of practice. It's time y'all learn and teach people. Okay, there is no reason not to do it. I'm the living proof of it. Outside of that, I've got bonuses galore that I've added. Galore. 2 custom GPTs, an ROI calculator so you can determine the right pricing for your area and how many people you need to get in order to start to break even and so forth. You can really do a lot of great math on there. That's a custom GPT. You get a CRM, a customer relationship management software. You get the report building CRM, so that all you have to do is put in some information and it generates a report for you. Some people have started using it recently to do their soap notes. Like, it's actually pretty phenomenal being able to have that all included in your course at no additional cost. These are things like, why is AI not being utilized or added in more courses? It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy. A scope safe toolkit, mentorship, the first 10 clients guide, your Myo Excellence toolkit loaded with things that you can quick reference to get back to what you need. So many things. So many things. Okay. I can't even list out all this stuff because I literally have another meeting after this. But the biggest value is that things are still being added. You heard me mention earlier that I'm adding some stuff. That stuff's going in March. In February, I have case colleague launching, but between now and then, main Myo is out, and all of my myofunctional therapy clients are looking 50% off hours. And if you're with just for knowing unable to respond, they're gone. Meet Main. Main is an AI chatbot so plus CRM that's made to turn those visitors into booked clients automatically. Here's what your future clients experience. They choose what brought them in, ask a question, and Main responds with helpful on-brand answers. Then, y'all, you can watch the video on my YouTube channel another time. But y'all, I've been learning to code because why not in today's day and age? Every company that we talk about nowadays is a tech company. If you haven't been learning to code so that you can help people do other things, like, come on, you can have it all. I have my Myo practice. It is very busy and bustling, and I had to throw the phone in a different room because I knew it was going to be ringing. I'm overwhelmed with cases and a caseload. I have the education aspect of it. I have my personal family life, which I've never felt more balanced. I will never go to another Airway conference outside of Myo Sphere, which is fabulous, because I just don't need it in my life. But you can have it all. You're just choosing not to. You can do more. You're choosing not to. The discomfort that makes you uncomfortable is the thing that you're really fighting against. But really quickly, I'll just show you case colleague. This is another thing that Myopathway people are going to have 50% off access to, probably a little more. I might give some people it for free because case colleague is really meant to build out cases and treatment plans and for you to get like expert review and submission of your evaluations and get like me to turn it around for you within 48 to 72 hours and give you a treatment plan back and a report and like a sequencing and what it should look like for that patient. And then you do with that what you would like. But there's no reason why all of that was missing from other courses. The prices have gone up, and where was the additional value? Most of them sounded exactly the same. So I think we've learned something very important today, and it's that you're worth it. You're worth more. You should be asking for more. You should be getting and receiving more in all ways in your life. And if you are on the fence at all about what course to get and like what's going on and how do you move forward, then reach out to me. Okay. I know I'm seeing some stuff in the chat and I'm trying to get my banner, but here's my chat link. Bit.ly. It's not supposed to have 3 slashes, but bit.ly/chat with Carice. Get on my calendar. Let's talk, guys. I love you all. Thank you for supporting me by just being here. I am so, so grateful for the life that I live and the people that I get to work with, because me and mine, we are exceptional. My Myopathway people, we are exceptional. I expect no less, and I want them to always expect exceptional from me. And I expect every last one of you watching to expect more from the others around you. Okay? Bye, my loves.